Chapter 1084. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress and Luo Feng Translator, Muoi Bo Studio Editor, Muoi Bo Studio. What chaotic airflow! Evil Fog Knight was confused. The Thorn Ring Alliance did not have its own universe, so Evil Fog Knight would not know what chaotic airflow was. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress cast a look at Evil Fog Knight and told him, "That is the initial energy of the universe. It is the maternal source of all the energies we know of." Maternal source of all the energies? Evil Fog was appalled. "There's no need for you to probe further, Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress continued in a low voice, with furrowed brows. "How did you meet with a chaotic airflow when you were on the original star? Tell me everything without leaving out a single detail." Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress was a top-tier universe overlord who enjoyed an extremely high status. He was knowledgeable and knew many secrets of the vast universe. Of course, he knew that a chaotic airflow should not have appeared on an original star. It was like this. Evil Fog Knight hurried to explain. "I was watching the fight between that golden-horned beast and Tian Yang Knight from afar when suddenly, darkness fell. It was as though we had all fallen into another world. All around us, there was a dark airflow. I instantly knew that I must have fallen into a dangerous tactic deployed by my enemy, so I quickly pleaded for mercy, hoping that the Great Being would let me go. However, it was pointless. Then, the dark airflow split into two parts. It was like a gigantic grinder with me in the middle. I was in the grinder, surrounded by the dark airflow. My godly body was consumed rapidly, and I was left with no other choice but to self-destruct." Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress listened intently and nodded slightly. He could not help feeling scared. If it was really chaotic airflow, that meant there was a special true treasure being used. Based on what Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress knew, some special true treasures that were extremely powerful, or the extremely powerful techniques that could only be created by the most terrifying beings, universe masters, were able to be transformed into chaotic airflows. That was the fight that only involved a golden-horned beast and Tian Yang Knight, thought Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress. There was no universe master involved. If there was a universe master, killing Evil Fog Knight would have been even easier. There would have been no need to make use of that powerful technique at all. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress considered this, trying to figure out the situation. There is only one possibility. A special piece of a true treasure was used. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress was very knowledgeable, but he was unaware of anyone with a perfect life gene level would be able to obtain the most powerful talent technique. That was considered a top-level secret within the universe, so he would not have been able to guess that it was a talent technique involved. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress stared at Evil Fog Knight as he pondered. The domain type true treasure that the golden-horned beast used. What form of domain did it take on? There were many kinds of domain-type true treasures in the universe. Every one of them took the form of a different domain, each with their unique characteristics. Given the domain-type true treasure, one could easily deduce more information on the background of the golden-horned beast. But Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress was still clueless. Domain? Evil Fog Knight suddenly recalled and said, "Golden River, a vast golden river. Yes, and a few great beasts. I remember seeing the great beasts continuously colliding into the gigantic rolling rocks of Tian Yang Knight's domain when the two true treasure domains charged at one another. As for how many beasts there were exactly, it was too far for me to see clearly. Golden River, great beasts, Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress, raised his brow, and his eyes lit up. The human, Luo Feng, Evil Fog Knight, was baffled. You may take your leave, Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress ordered. Evil Fog Knight was slightly taken aback, and in his heart, he was not content taking things as they were. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress looked at him coldly. Evil Fog Knight could only grit his teeth to contain his displeasure as he transformed into light and departed. In his heart, he lamented the situation. Annoying Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress. I was obeying your orders when I followed Tian Yang Knight, which was the reason I was annihilated. Although I could reverse time and space to be resurrected, all my treasures were gone. Not a single one left. This was really a great loss. Just my luck. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress looked unfeelingly at the retreating figure of Evil Fog Knight. Humph. I have already paid the price for your resurrection by reversing time and space, and you still want to take advantages? Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress started to fall into deep thought while standing in mid-air. Human form. Luo Feng. That domain-type treasure must be the Nine Tiger River of the human race. And Nine Tiger River is in the hands of Luo Feng. Nine Tiger River used to be a true treasure possessed by non-human races, but after a series of fights, the treasure had been taken over by different hands until finally, it landed up with the human race. Luo Feng's reputation had recently been on the rise. Because of him, a fair number of universe great beings had been annihilated. Of course, Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress knew all this, as he had received a tip-off way back when Luo Feng obtained Nine Tiger River. As for Evil Fog Knight, because he was in the original star and was nothing more than an ordinary knight, he naturally only knew that a fair number of knights from the other races had been annihilated because for being consumed by greed and wanting to kill Luo Feng. He was clueless in terms of other detailed information like Nine Tiger River. Such information was out of his reach. Earlier on, Evil Fog Knight mentioned that when Golden Horned Beast and Tian Yang Knight fought, Nine Tiger River suddenly appeared, thought Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress. It seems like Luo Feng's assistant is none other than that Golden Horned Beast. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress nodded to reinforce his deduction. Being able to achieve this degree of battle successes, succeeding in killing so many knights of other races, and even universe overlords, no wonder Tian Yang Knight needed to escape from him. And lastly, the true treasure that gave rise to the chaotic airflow must be the doing of Golden Horned Beast. If it was Tian Yang Knight's true treasure, then Tian Yang Knight would not have had to escape when he met me years ago. Evil Fog Knight was pursued even though he was far away, and Tian Yang Knight was annihilated. So, the treasure must be in the hands of the Golden Horned Beast. Luo Feng, Golden Horned Beast, Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress made his decision. After a moment of thoughts, I shall go meet this human Luo Feng personally. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress instantly transformed into light and vanished into space at super speed. ******* on the original star. With his silver armor and wings, Luo Feng carried his cutting pearl sword across his back as he flew high in the air. When knights of other races saw him approaching from afar, they would immediately steer clear of his path and go into hiding. "It's Luo Feng. Hurry! Move out of his way." This Luo Feng's wings used to be a pair. When did it increase to 4? Who knows? Maybe he has changed the form of his true treasure. Or maybe he has changed to another true treasure. Luo Feng was just like the other top-tier universe overlords, with a presence that would cause knights of other races, and even universe overlords, to retreat. Of course, on planets where universe masters arrived, it would be Luo Feng's turn to hide. Even if he really wanted to enter a planet that had a universe master, he would ensure that he stayed far away from where the universe master was, maintaining a distance of at least 600 million miles. Is this how being a great being feels? Luo Feng whispered, standing at the apex of a towering mountain and taking in a bird's eye view of the vast land. In this original star that is said to be fraught with danger, I am always on my toes. So long as I steer clear of the location where a universe master lands, no others would dare come provoke me. The original star was dangerous, yet this statement was based on comparative terms. To universe knights, it was extremely dangerous. To universe overlords, the extent of danger was much smaller. Otherwise, Guiyi Knight would not have been so confident that he would be able to borrow Luo Feng's soul-type true treasure way back then. Normally, if one was able to avoid running into top-tier universe overlords and universe masters, there should not be much danger to be worried about. Top-tier universe overlords were even safer, so long as they did not take the initiative to provoke the universe masters. For instance, during the opening of a treasure, a top-tier universe overlord and a universe master might both enter to fight for its ownership. Under such a circumstance, there would naturally be the possibility of someone getting killed. Otherwise, by avoiding any path a universe master trod on, one could definitely stay safe. Luo Feng suddenly turned his head in a certain direction. In the original star, knights of other races would avoid me when they saw me in the distance, but this one here dares to approach within a mere 6 million miles away from me. From afar, a cyan light flew straight toward Luo Feng. That is, Luo Feng looked intently and tried to distinguish the identity of the approaching party. It was a giant with a body that was full of green vitality. And judging by its unique characteristics, looks, and aura, Thornring Alliance's Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress, Luo Feng recognized his approaching company in an instant. Then he smirked to himself. No wonder there was no fear. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress was a top-tier universe overlord. Human Luo Feng. A booming voice sounded. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress, Luo Feng said, looking over from where he near Luo Feng. With a smile, he glanced at him and said, I've long heard of your name, human Luo Feng. This is our very first time meeting each other. I'm afraid the reason for this meeting is, most likely, that I ventured into the original star, hence arousing your attention. Luo Feng said humbly. He laughed and continued, to become such a prominent figure, even to the extent of leading knights of other races to avoid me when they see me. All of these were not because of my true abilities. Unlike you, Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress, all others are in awe because You are truly powerful enough. Since all the other races had come to conclude that Luo Feng had an assistant, then so be it. Anyway, no one would believe him if he said otherwise. You are pretty capable, too, said Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress. You hold high hopes of attaining at least the level of a universe overlord soon. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress looked at Luo Feng, then asked, now that I have met you, there is actually a favor I would like to ask of you. A favor? Luo Feng repeated. Please go on. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress wanted a favor from him. I need to make a true treasure, and I have been looking for many materials. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress glanced at Luo Feng, then continued. But I am missing a few important precious metals. The other universe knights make detours whenever they see me, so there is no way I can speak to them at all. Luo Feng laughed. That was true. Even if he had wanted to speak to the other races, they would have avoided his path the moment they saw him tens of millions of miles away. I am not sure what metals you have, but Luo Feng, if there are any that I need, I am willing to pay you handsomely in exchange for them. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress smiled. Metals? Luo Feng asked out of curiosity. Aren't there any in the Thornring Alliance? Sadly, there really aren't any, Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress said with a resigned look. There are so many types of precious metals in the universe, and what I need, we used to have. But now, everything has been exchanged or claimed by others. Luo Feng nodded. I do have some materials, but I am not sure if there are any that you want, Luo Feng informed him. Previously, after killing Tian Yang Knight, Luo Feng returned to his god country where he kept all the true treasures and treasures that he could not fathom. After all, materials that he could not understand would obviously be very highly priced. Luo Feng only brought with him the ones that he could recognize and understand, and he was clear of the prices of the treasures that he carried at his side. There's a chance you may have some. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress laughed out loud. How about letting me take a look? Sure. With a wave of his hand, a large quantity of metals floated before Luo Feng. Almost 100 types of metals were closely packed in the space before them. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress started scrutinizing and identifying the metals with eyes brightly lit. However, a short while later, the glimmer of excitement in his eyes dimmed as he shook his head with a smile. There really aren't any I need. Whatever metal that Thorn-Ring Alliance lacks, I doubt I will have any, Luo Feng said, smiling but not revealing much. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress looked a little hesitant. Please feel free to speak your mind, Luo Feng said with a smile. Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress went on to say, actually, I did not want to ask this. It's just that this metal is really important to me. The other races in the universe are all aware that Luo Feng has a top-tier universe overlord as his assistant. I trust that he, too, holds on to many precious metals. I am just thinking, could I have a look at what he carries? If he has what I need, I am willing to trade treasure for treasure. Your friend will not be put at a disadvantage.